Little girl screamed. They're hurting my mama. Then Hell's Angels' next move shook the whole town out on the edge of Millbrook, where the highway exhales dust into the bones of a town that forgot how to dream. The rusty chain biker bar throbbed like an old engine refusing to die. Laughter brawled with rock riffs. The metallic rattle of pool balls kept time with stories that never ended the same way twice. And then the night broke. SFX. Bar doors slam open. Wind snakes through the room. Cam smash cut. Doors swing wide. Sodium streetlight smears on wet asphalt outside. A small silhouette in the doorway. Oh, she was 7. Barefoot, eyes wide as the moon. Emma Martinez. A storm crammed into a tiny chest and the lightning finally struck. Child. Trembling, breathless, almost a whisper that slices the room. They're hurting my mama. SFX. Cigarettes halt midair. Jukebox needle lifts with a pop. The bar inhales and forgets to exhale. Cam. Punch into faces around the bar, one after another. Tattoos, rings, tension. Then land on Marcus Tank Rodriguez, 6'4". Rum and gravel eyes. Shoulders like a doorframe. At the center sat Marcus Tank Rodriguez, a wall of muscle patched together with scars and second chances. Millbrook whispered his name with fear. But when he saw that trembling girl, something old woke up behind his eyes. Something that remembered a woman screaming in another lifetime. Music. Guitar fades to a single held note. Low drums tick in, slow and heavy. Tank, gentle, controlled, a storm kept on a leash. Who's hurting your mama, sweetheart? Emma, choking on the words. My stepdad. He's gonna kill her. You could hear a pin drop, or a heartbreak. Tank stood. The floorboards groaned under his boots like they knew what was coming. Tank to the room, quiet as a verdict. Then we ride. Hook plus channel CTA, cam, cut to black. One beat of silence. Vo. Softer. Inviting. Before we start this story, tell us where in the world you're watching from. And if the roads ever asked you to be braver than you felt, hit subscribe to Bikers Hype. Your support keeps these stories rolling. Music, hybrid cinematic plus rock swells, strings lift. A guitar bends a note toward horizon, scene 1, engines and promises, SVX 20. Harleys roar to life out front. The sound punches through night like thunder over steel. Cam exterior, chrome flickers under neon. Patches, red wings, skulls, miles of bad choices turned into brotherhood. So. The noise rolled through Millbrook like a storm warning, rattling window panes, waking half the town and the part of Tank that never truly slept. Emma's tiny hands fisted his leather vest, face pressed into the patch. He bent until that mountain of a man matched a child's eye line. Tank, steady assurance. Hold on tight. We'll find her. 5-0. Behind him, his crew fell into formation, Diesel, Cobra, Hammer, Spider. To outsiders, they looked like outlaws. To each other, they were a promise made of gasoline and grit. Cam, tracking shot down Maple Avenue, headlights carving the dark. Porch lights blink on like startled stars. SFX. Engines harmonize. Rain hisses in the distance, a dog barks and then quiets. Tank had been to war, in jungles and deserts where the maps lied and the bullets didn't. Nothing made his pulse surge like a child asking the world to be kind. Cam. The convoy halts by a small blue duplex with a busted fence. One upstairs bulb stutters. A scream saws through the thin walls. SFX. Glass shatters inside. A woman pleads. A bottle rattles across linoleum. Tank. Command low. Practiced. Diesel Cobra, back door. Hammer perimeter. BO. They moved like ghosts. Discipline forged in sand and blood, stitched with miles of bad weather. Cam. Tank steps to the front door. A brief glance through the window. Jake Sullivan. Tall, stringy, drunk, arm raised over Maria Martinez, who bleeds at the lip. SFX. One kick. The door detonates inward. Splinters fly. Music, guitars crunch. Percussion doubles. Jake spinning. Bottle raised. Who the H? SFX. Glass explodes against the wall as Tank's hand crushes Jake's wrist mid-swing. Tank. Voice like a velvet sledgehammer. You like hitting women? Try someone who hits back. Cam, tight cuts, elbows, knuckles, breath. Jake swings wild. Tank doesn't. SFX, a block. A hook, a knee to ribs. A body hits carpet. 10 seconds. That's all it took to turn a lifetime of cowardice into a stain on the rug. SFX. Zip tie pull as Cobra restrains Jake. Maria dazed, whispering. Who are you people? Tank. Simple truth. The ones who showed up. SFX, distant sirens beginning to bloom. Diesel, kneeling, gentle hands. Former combat medic. She needs stitches. Cobra, peeking the curtain. Cops inbound. Tank, hauling Jake up like a sack of regret. You're done. This woman and her kid don't answer to you again. Jake, spitting blood, sneer cracking. You think you're a hero? Tank, low final, just the reckoning. Cam. Red and blue wash the living room. Officer Martinez, no relation, enters, hand near holster. Eyes sweeping the scene. Bruised woman, restrained man. Silent bikers like courtroom statues. Tank, palms open, calm. Suspects, Jake Sullivan. Restraining order violation. Assault and battery. Victim needs medical. Officer Martinez, thrown professional. You law enforcement? Tank, a shadow of what was. Not anymore. Just a citizen who listened when a kid cried for help. SFX. Front door opens. Emma's small feet slap across hardwood. Cam. Emma rockets into Maria's arms. The sound she makes is part sob, part sunrise. There are battles that end in surrender, and there are battles that end in breathing. This one ended with breathing. Cam. Outside, neighbors line porches. Whispers ripple. A paramedic's pen scratches forms. Vo. For years, Millbrook flinched at the Hells Angels patch. Tonight, they saw what it really meant. Not lawlessness, but a line that said, not one step further. Tank at the threshold. Cigarette trembling between fingers he wished were steadier. Ride easy, boys. We did good tonight. Music, guitar softens. Strings cradle a hush. Mid-story engagement. Natural break. VO. Warm, direct to audience. If you're still with us, drop a art in the comments to tell Emma she's not alone. And hit like so YouTube shows this to someone who needs courage tonight. Sunlight spills. Through a repaired frame. The police tape flutters like a pale ribbon of yesterday. SFX bird's coffee lid snaps. Paper bag rustles. Diesel entering with a bakery bag. Cops cleared the scene. Jake's in county. They're charging him. Tank, arms crossed at the doorway, windowing the street with his stare. Men like him don't stop because someone says they're under arrest. Maria, voice thin, hands wrapped around a mug for warmth as much as heat. Why'd you help us? Tank, a shrug that carries a decade. Because once, nobody helped me. Landed like armor, not the metal kind. The kind you can't see until you need it. Cam, outside, 2 bikes idle, a soft sentry hum. VO. By afternoon, word spread through Millbrook like summer fire on dry brush. Folks who used to cross the street when the patches came by now left thank you cards on the bar. Somebody brought a pie. The pastor left a note. Good men wear leather, too. Cam. Rusty chain interior. Quieter daylight. Tank stares at an untouched beer. Diesel, elbows on wood, grinning wryly. Town's buzzing. Pie's pecan. Don't fight destiny. Tank, smudged half-smile. Pie doesn't fix fear. Front page of Biker Brotherhood saves local family. The photo was blurry. Tank carrying a small bundle that was actually a galaxy of courage. He folded the paper like it might break. Tank, simple, steady. That little girl's the story. Not me. Cam, evening. Maria's door, fresh wood, new lock. Tank knocks once, steps back. Maria. Cautious smile. Weary but lighter. I didn't expect you back. Tank. I don't do goodbyes twice. Emma. Appearing with a stuffed rabbit that's seen better centuries. You came back. Tank, crouching, a mountain kneeling. Told you I would. You keeping your mama safe? Emma, solemn nod. We lock the doors and everything. Tank. A rare laugh. Gravel softening. Good. Keep that rabbit on security detail. Cam. Tank offers a folded business card. Tank. If he ever tries again, you call this number. Doesn't matter the hour. Maria. Fingers shaking at the edges of trust. You think he will? Tank. Truth without cruelty. I think he's a coward. Cowards don't quit until someone stands taller. Emma, touching Tank's vest, measuring a myth. You're really big. Does that mean you're brave? Tank, glancing to Maria, then back, voice a lesson and a vow. No, little one. Brave means doing what's right even when you're small. Bo. If redemption had a language, it would speak softly. Right then, it did. Cam Knight returning to form. Laughter inside the bar again. Guitar strings. Footsteps that don't hurry. Diesel, sliding onto a stool with a low whistle. Word is, judge denied bail. Flight risk and mean streak. Tank, exhale through the nose, smoke layered with thought. Good. Bo. But peace is a visitor with a bus ticket in its pocket. Tank felt it, the crawl under the ribs that says trouble learned your name and how to spell it. Cam, street view. An old sedan idles at the far end, lights off, silhouette behind the wheel. When Tank steps toward it, engine revs and ghost disappears. Bo. He'd learned the difference between rumor and omen. That was an omen. SFX. A sudden smash. Glass erupts out of Maria's front window. Cam. A brick clatters to a stop amid shards. Paper wrapped around it, ink jagged. Emma. Scream torn out of the night. Mama! Tank, arriving fast, boots grinding glass, reading the note. You think you're safe? Think again, Maria. Hands shaking, eyes wet but hardening. He's back, isn't he? Tank, nodding once. Cowards send warnings before they act. Means he's planning something. Entry, Diesel and Cobra, drawn by the commotion. Cobra, jaw tight. You want us to find him? Tank, voice like steel cooled under rain. No, we find proof first. Then we make sure the law doesn't have a choice. Maria, a hand on Tank's sleeve. Plea chiseled thin. I can't live like this again. Tank meeting her gaze. A vow signed in exhaust and daylight. You won't, he wants a war? He'll get one. Just not the kind he expects. Music, low strings tighten. Toms begin a distant roll. Cam Sheriff's Office. Fluorescents hum. A coffee ring masquerades as a map of some other world. Chief Williams, looking up, guarded respect. Rodriguez. You here to start trouble or stop it? Tank setting the brick and note down, slow and surgical. Depends who you ask. Sullivan's escalating. Intimidation. Williams. Rubbing temples weighed by a town's worth of paperwork. You got witnesses? Tank. Half my crew heard the window break. Williams. Sigh, then a decision settling in his shoulders. I'll authorize a protective detail. But I don't want vigilante justice, Nate. Tank. Softer now. The kind of softness that carries iron filings. We're not hunting vengeance. Chief, we're hunting sleep for a kid. Williams, meeting Tank's stare. Something like an agreement flickering. Call me first if he slips. Tank. You'll get that call, if he gets the chance. Cam. Back porch of Maria's place, pre-dawn blue. Breath ghosts in the air. SFX, shotgun shell check. Cigarette ember. Distant train horn like memory. Maria in the doorway. Whisper soft. You're still here. Tank, eyes on the tree line. You don't leave the fort unguarded before dawn. Maria, closer now. Voice warming as it cracks. You don't have to do this. Tank, the truth sitting heavy and clean. Yeah, I do. When I was 10, I ran to a neighbor's house while my mom screamed. Nobody came. Been trying to make that right ever since. Maria, breath catching. You already did. Tank, looks at her. A rare window open in a man built of doors. I just hope I didn't wait too long to do something good. SFX, first bird call. Engines in the distance like a far-off tide. SFX gravel spit as Diesel rolls up quick. Diesel, urgency coiled tight. Problem. One of ours saw Jake talking to out-of-towners by the old rail yard. Rough kind. Hired trouble. Tank, jaw set, eyes cut to Emma's sleepy silhouette waving from the window down the block. He's recruiting. Diesel, a grim nod. Not the kind that fight clean. Tank, decision settling like a leather glove. Then we get ahead of it. Find it within an hour. The rusty chain turned into a war room. Unfolded maps, weapons cleaned, radios checked. A brotherhood learning how to spell defend with patience and proof. Tank, to the room, voice a compass. This isn't revenge. It's making sure a mother and her kid wake up tomorrow. Diesel, cracking knuckles, half grin, all business. And if Jake makes the first move? Tank, expression hardening to granite. Then God help him. Music, hybrid score swells, strings tighten, kick drum on a slow, relentless march. Cam, outskirts, abandoned rail yard. Windows like broken teeth. Sunlight stripes the concrete in wounded gold. SFX, engines idle in a low growl, echoing in the steel ribs of the place. Bo, Tank had stood in ambush alleys wearing a flag on his sleeve. This one didn't need a flag. It needed finish. Radio, diesel, a rasp across static. Targets inbound. 3 vehicles. Tank, barest nod. Positions, Cam, split visuals. Jake's pickup screeches by the old warehouse. 2 tattooed men fan out, hands near weapons. Jake emerges thinner, wilder, defiance hiding a tremor. Jake, smirking into the empty lot. Told you he'd come. He's too proud not to. Tank, stepping from shadow, voice steady as a trigger pull. You're right about that. Vo, silence cinched tight. The kind that counts breaths and sins. Cam, the crews fan out. Angels forming a wide crescent of leather and resolve. Jake, laugh cracked by booze and bad memory. You think you scare me? Charity club, your ghosts in leather. Tank one more step forward. Words like an axle locked into place. You threatened a kid. Jake, that makes you less than nothing. Jake, a flash of something like hurt behind the hate. She's my family. Tank, not raising volume. Only wait. She's ours now. SFX. First gunshot. Wild, high. Concrete chips. Chaos snaps. Music. Guitars hit. Drums surge. Strings brace like wind in a storm. Cam, Diesel's bike lunges. Cobra tackles a shooter. Hammers boot pins a wrist. The second thug swings a tire iron. Tank catches it midair, turns the arm, the iron clatters away. Jake, stumbling back. Hand diving for a revolver. Cam. Time dilates. Tank closes distance. Hand to Jake's throat, slams him against a rusted rail car. Tank, breath hot. Fist hovering on the edge of no return. This ends now. Jake, choking. Eyes glassy with fear and old fury. Do it. Prove them right. SFX, distant sirens, growing many. VO, there's a line between justice and revenge. It's thinner than paper, heavier than regret. Tank, a tremor through his clenched hand. Then the hand opens. He shoves Jake down instead. You wanted a war, Jake. Wars end with the truth. SFX. Squad cars dive in, doors slam, boots pound. Chief Williams steps through the noise. Williams. Command slicing clean. Everyone down. Hands where I can see 'em. Tank. Palms up, voice steady. Weapon secured, Chief. We called it in. Jake. Spitting panic now. They ambushed me. Look what they... Williams, kneeling, lifts Jake's revolver off the grit. Looks like you brought your own war. I've got witnesses, and a recording that says you threatened a child. B.O. Jake's defiance cracked like old paint in the sun. Cam. At the edge of the lot, Maria arrives with an officer. Eyes meeting Tank's. In them, fear, relief, gratitude. A horizon. Jake shouting her name, but the wind takes it. She doesn't look back. Camp Sunset bleeds across corrugated metal. Sirens ebb. The engine rumble returns to a low, satisfied heartbeat. Diesel. Quiet now. Like after a storm you survived by counting seconds. Guess we're heroes again. Tank. The faintest smile. A man learning how not to flinch at the word. Nah, just men who didn't look away. Emma. Running. Arms open, voice bright as chrome in July. You came back just like you promised. Tank kneeling, catching her hug, voice a vow that doesn't brag. Always. Maria standing near. Warmth returning to places that were cold too long. You could have killed him. Tank, honest as the road. I almost did. But if I became him, I couldn't protect anyone, though some nights end in sirens. The good ones end in breathing. This one ended in both. Music, hybrid score eases, guitar size, strings settle like dust after thunder. If this first chapter spoke to you, tap like, share it with a friend who rides, and subscribe to Biker's Hype so you don't miss part 2. The road's not finished with Tank, Maria, or Emma, and neither is the dark. But light's learning the way. Cam, fade on Tank's silhouette beside Emma and Maria, the rail yard behind them turning to gold. Vi's gravelly tone, slow and measured. Every town carries a shadow, and Millbrooks was finally waking. A week had passed since the rail yard showdown, and the air still smelled like burnt metal and change. Tank Rodriguez had given the town its first good night's sleep in years, but peace never idles long. SFX, bar doors creak open, morning light spills over empty bottles. VO. Inside the rusty chain, the biker brotherhood sat around coffee instead of beer, a strange kind of Sunday miracle. Diesel patched a bullet graze on his forearm. Cobra tuned a bass guitar like therapy. Hammer counted the days since he'd last broken someone's nose for a reason that mattered. Diesel, quiet laugh. Never thought I'd see the day the town sent us cookies instead of court orders. Tank, half smile. Don't get used to it. People forget fast. VO. Outside, reporters snapped pictures of the bar sign like it was a holy relic. The headline from the Millbrook Gazette still hung in the window, Angels of Mercy. Tank didn't trust the word angel. He knew how quickly wings could burn. Cam, Maria's kitchen bathed in sunlight. Emma scribbles crayon wings on paper. Maria. Baby, what are you drawing? Emma. Tank's bike. It's got wings 'cause it flies. Foe. Maria smiled, the kind that didn't bleed anymore. But when she looked out the window and saw a black sedan parked too long across the street, her stomach turned to ice. Cam, close up on Maria's hand gripping the phone. Speed dial. Tank. Tank. VO, calm but tight. Stay inside, I'm on my way. SFX, Harley engine roars to life. Cam. Tank's bike tears through town. Camera mounted low behind front wheel. Rock riff kicks in. VO, he'd seen this game before. Cowards who hid in sunlight so they could pretend they weren't hunting in the dark. By the time he reached Maria's street, the car was gone. Only tire marks and a cigarette butt remained. Jake's brand. Cheap. Desperate. Tank, muttering. He's testing boundaries. Diesel, on radio. Then let's draw new ones. Cam, sheriff's office again. Chief Williams leans back, reading reports. Tank, he's out there probing. Every cop car you've got won't change that. Williams, I can't arrest a ghost. You want to protect them? Do it within the lines. Tank, lines only work if both sides see them. Bo, two men on the same side of justice divided by the rules that make it complicated. Williams knew Tank was right. But right didn't fit in paperwork. SFX, rustling paper, bike idling outside. Foo. That night, Maria found a note under her door. No brick this time. Just words carved in ink that smelled like beer and hate. You think he can save you twice? Maria, shaking voice. He knows where we live, Tank. Tank, then we move you. Emma, small, scared. Will we see you again? Tank, kneeling, steady. Count on it, little one. Roads always find their own back. Cam, abandoned farmhouse outside town repurposed as safe house. Sunset burns orange on rusted silos. Vo, the angels turned the old farm into sanctuary overnight. Generator humming, perimeter lights wired from bike batteries. Brotherhood building a fortress the law couldn't afford to imagine. Diesel. Feels like Kandahar all over again. Hank, except this time we know who we're fighting for. Cam, porch late night. Tank and Maria share coffee in silence. Maria, when you walked into that bar, did you think you'd end up saving a stranger? Tank, no. But I knew I'd regret not getting up. Bayo. The wind shifted, carrying the smell of rain and engine oil. Tank's version of holy water. For the first time, he laughed. It sounded like rust finally turning loose. SFX, storm builds, rain on tin roof. VO. In the dark, trouble moved again. Jake had friends, men who owed him favors, men who liked pain. He fed them lies about money and revenge. By midnight, Millbrook had a new problem brewing at the rail spur. Cobra, on radio. Got eyes on 3 vehicles near the yard again. Tank. Don't engage, not yet. VO to audience low and urgent. If you're still riding with us, drop A in the comments so we know the Brotherhood's still awake. Subscribe to Biker's Hype. The road ahead gets dark, but you won't want to blink. Cam interior garage, tank wipes blood from knuckles, stares into bike mirror, cut to desert war memory. Oh. He remembered a different night, not Millbrook, but Mosul. A boy crying for his mother in a burning house. Tank had carried him out. Same eyes as Emma, same voice, different country, same sin. He'd promised himself then that if he ever heard that sound again, he wouldn't wait for orders. Music. Minor key strings blend into low rock pulse. Cam, rusty chain parking lot, midnight. Rain. Diesel and Cobra readying bikes. Tank. We make him come to us. He wants a war. We write the rules. Diesel. Bait? Tank. Rumor of a payoff. He'll bite. Bo. They spread word through old channels that Tank was stashing cash from a ride gone wrong. Jake could never resist a score or a chance to hurt a hero. Cam. Small church. Pastor locks door as rain pours. Pastor. You boys are treading thin ice between justice and judgment. Tank. Sometimes they're the same road, Reverend. Pastor. Then keep your headlights on. Fight on faith and fuel. The 2 things that keep men like Tank moving when everything else runs out. SFX. Harleys. Revving under thunder. Camera shakes with each engine pulse. Bo. By the second hour of the storm, they heard the trucks coming. Jake and his new crew, drunk, armed, and lost to anger. Cam. Headlights cut through rain. Tank steps out, face half lit by lightning. Tank. This is your last chance, Jake. Walk away. Jake. Slurred shout. Not till she screams. For me again, Vo. The word again broke something in Tank that had held since the desert. SFX, gunshot snaps, bullet hits mud near Tank's boot. Diesel yelling, down. Music. Full rock score erupts. Chaos, rain, engine howls. VO. The trap sprang half-formed. Cobra cut the lights on the farm. Hammer flanked through the field. Rain turned the ground into memory and mud. Tank. No kills. Restrain only. Diesel, gritting teeth. You're too merciful for a war. Tank. Mercy's what makes us different. Cam. Jake slips, falls, gun skitters into puddle. Tank stands over him, soaked, breathing steam. Tank. Look around, Jake. Every man here chose to live through something uglier than you. You don't scare anyone. Jake. Spitting rain and blood. She'll never love you. Tank. Soft grin. She doesn't have to. She just has to live. SFX police sirens again. Chief Williams arrives with deputies. Williams. Drop it, Rodriguez. Tank. Hands raised, calm. Already did. Feisu. This time there was no fight, no rage, only the sound of a man finally running out of hate. Jake was taken without another word. Cam. Sunrise through rain-washed streets. News crews, neighbors, children cheering bikes instead of fearing them. B.O. Millbrook woke different. The bikers were no longer outlaws, but a wall between the innocent and the dark. The mayor called it a miracle. Tank called it Tuesday. Maria, hugging Emma as Tank prepares to ride. You ever think about staying? Tank. Road doesn't let me, but I'll circle back. Emma. I'll save you some pie. Tank smiling. Then I've got a reason. Vindurian fade-out music to soft guitar echo. Some wars end with treaties. Others end when a child finally sleeps through the night. Tank Rodriguez didn't ride for glory. He rode so someone else could wake up without fear. If you felt that, ride in your chest, hit like, share it with your brothers and sisters on the road, and subscribe to Bikers Hype, because every mile has another story worth telling.